Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and I wanted to talk real quick about the Vanduul Glaive and show it off in the game engine. Now, for those of you that are wondering, no, this is not my ship. That being said, though, I do have an org mate that was nice enough to go ahead and lend me his for some testing and just to kind of fly around and have a good time with it. Now, the Glaive was on sale for a really limited time, with only about 1,000 made available, or maybe it was 2,000 available for sale. But in order to do that, in order to actually qualify to buy the ship, you had to end up completing a Vanduul Swarm match. Now, you didn't actually have to finish it all together, but you had to at least start the final level, which is 18. Now, the good news with this was you didn't have to go in solo. You could actually go in as part of the co-op mode as well. And it was really great to see my community, the PXP organization, as well as the Star Citizen community in general, just working together towards a common goal like this. It was a lot of fun to see, and while I was out of town, just reading the stories of people that grouped up to play was just a lot of fun to read about. So these are all gone for sale right now, but let's still kind of show you the ship and talk about some of my opinions on it. Now, the Glaive is a big-ass fighter, period. Now, in this video, I'm going to show it next to a Gladiator in the hangar, and you can start to get a sense of the scale. You know, the actual ship itself is fairly small, but the wings and size 5 guns on those wings make it absolutely massive when you think about fighters. The animations for loading into the Glaive, as well as the system kind of startup, is a lot of fun, and it's really different from anything else that we've got. Now, before I forget, the model that we have here is the Asperia Glaive, which is the human reproduction of the actual Vanduul ship. Now, in the game, you're going to be able to actually capture or rescue the real-life version, you know, the actual Vanduul version, but from what I can tell and what I've read, they should be about the same. Now, the ship flies awesome. And remember, there's a difference between just flying and fighting. So it's pretty quick. It's 240 meters per second, so it's matching the Gladius in speed. And it maneuvers on a dime. It really is just crazy agile. And I don't feel like blackouts were something that were really a big issue. It's actually so quick and maneuverable that it makes hitting anything hard, at least for me. And I think with more time that may have changed, but I just never really got there. Now, there are size 5 guns on the wings and size 1s under the nose. And yeah, size 5 sure sounds like it would be nasty on a fighter. In theory, that's great. But they're fixed weapons, they have a slow rate of fire, and the ship being so twitchy, it's really hard to hit anything and just to kind of handle. Not to mention, they don't really pack much of a punch, which is odd for a size 5. So overall, the DPS is just really low in this ship. I've read some people stating things like the size 5 doesn't do much to shields, but it really does massive damage against armor. Frankly, I didn't have enough time playing with it to really be proficient enough to really test that theory out. So while it may be true, I don't know. So if you guys have more experience with it, put it in the comments. I'd like to hear if that's actually the case or not. Now, with the new setup, I was having some issues. I couldn't get into any multiplayer games. So most of the combat that I faced was actually in Vanduul Swarm Match, which was kind of funny bringing the Vanduul A ship to the fight, but it was an entertaining experience, and as entertaining as it can be, sucking, you know, kind of terribly with it. I look at this ship and said to myself, this thing is a lot of fun, but I don't think it was really worth the price for the performance that you get in return. That being said, I would imagine that this is going to get a balance pass down the road, and it's probably going to end up performing quite a bit later, or quite a bit better later on down the line. Now, I couldn't really slice anything while using the wings. I don't know if you have to deploy the blades or what, but I did notice that you take very little damage when you get a little bit rammy with targets, so it does seem to confirm that it is built for that ramming speed and kind of being a blunt instrument. One point that I didn't care for was that I had a hard time keeping track of the pips on my heads-up display. And I think that's just probably from lack of experience with the ship, or maybe it's just the red, but I was having a hard time lining up my shots and, more importantly, keeping my target lined up with the pips consistently. So I was also a little bit surprised that none of the weapons were actually gimbaled, but I guess when you look at a ship that's this agile, you probably don't really need that. It's easy to maneuver your ship to kind of keep yourself in that general vicinity. Now, actually landing your shots is a different animal, especially with the slow bullet velocity on those size 5s, but you know, either way, that's something to note. And then the final real thing I wanted to say with this is the sounds on this ship are just really cool. You know, the engine sounds, the boost sound, the actual sound of the weapons, everything about the ship just sounds really mean, and it makes it a really kind of fun and like almost an engaging experience. So I'd say the bottom line on this ship is it's a lot of fun to fly, it's very unique, it's very awesome looking, but the performance in combat is currently lacking, at least from my perspective. So either way, if you get the opportunity to fly one, I would totally suggest it. If you have questions about the ship, let me know. Otherwise, stay tuned for a lot more content, and I'll catch you all later. Take care.